play in front of the entire school.
Say hi.
Why?
Ada.
No one. I want to keep it that way.
Say hi. I'm making a video. I got a new fancy microphone.
How are you?
I do.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
I threw up on her back while I was in it. Call me spit up.
I'm gonna go walk around upstairs.
I'm documenting, Howard. What I got? I got a toy.
With a mic.
Yeah, this just came in today.
Windscreen.
I'm currently recording.
Did you establish two-party consent?
Huh?
Did you establish two-party consent?
What?
Did you establish two-party consent?
No.
Then you're committing a misdemeanor in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
You suck.
The felony is you zooming in on this ugly face. Yo soy Che Guevara, even though that's Cuba, I think. Cook-quick? Cook-quick? Can't sleep, frogs will eat me, can't sleep, frogs will eat me nightmare night. Here we have a stapler. Look at that stapler, gorgeous. Now the stapler, you're not gonna believe this, it's Staples. And I've completely gone off the Australian accent into like British, but like crappy British. Just like the stapler. I honestly have nothing. I bring nothing to the table. The stapler is not even mine. See? It's what? A real saw? I got tape instead. Haha! Tape's way better than staplers because it's tapey and look at my fuzzy tape. Look at it. I'm just gonna stare into the camera until Trevor returns. There's nothing you can do about it. You could click out of the video, you could press pause, but you're not. And you know why you're not? Because the curiosity drives you. You want to hear what I have next to say, and not even I have it planned, so you're a floppy diskette. Talbot Embroidery, the Daughter Farm. So here's ancient technology. This is called a floppy disk. It's neither floppy nor a disk, but inside there's a disk. Haha, got you good. And you put it into a disk drive, and it's actually the origin of the save icon. So you click that to save a document. That's why. That's what that means, man. Don't you see it? Don't you see it? Miss Elliott, do either of us have this? It looks like it says Target Empanadas. The Daughter Farm? That's awkward. I don't know what to do with that. This video is like 3 minutes long.
I messed up some of the flags, so I gotta go.
Oh, hang on. Let me get the establishing shot of outside. Oh, look at that. Look at that resolution. All right, that's 3 minutes of nonsense. That's enough.
Are you required by law to have these up?
No, I just want them.
But open door.
These didn't come out of your own pocket, did they?
Yeah. Just because I've noticed some not okay language. Some of my students.
I don't know the
It
words.
just comes down to bigotry.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Wake me up.
This is just.
Can't wake up. No, seriously, please wake me up. Wake up. Save me from the nothing I've become.
Mr. Duzo, what was your favorite band during high school?
It would either be Led Zeppelin or the Grateful Dead.
From the top.
Okay.
What was your first impression of me as a student?
You were a goofball. Yep. It was, yeah. Yeah, goofball.
What was your first job?
I was a dishwasher at a restaurant called Horizons, and my favorite part of that was they fed us really good food, and we were the only people that got fed, so just the dishwashers. But I didn't want to go into restaurant business after that, so I changed my career path.
Was there a point where you wanted to be in the restaurant business?
Yeah, when I was like a kid, I wanted to be a restaurant person, or like own a bakery or something.
Restaurateur.
Yeah.
I could see you being a baker.
You know, I hate baking though. That's my problem, right? I wanted to be a baker, but I hated baking, so.
You just wanted to eat the.
Yeah, so I decided to just be a math teacher because, you know, if you gotta throw away your baking career, you just gotta go straight in for math. There's really no other choice, you know.
It's just you can't hate yourself enough more than doing that.
You just, yeah, it's kind of like, all right, the rest of my life I'm gonna suffer, you know. So math teacher it is.
What was your first car?
A 1990 F-150. It was fun. It only had two-wheel drive, so it sucked in the winter. But I never got into any accidents, so that was good. I got it off an old guy for $2,000. It was awesome. Yep.
How long did it last you?
I want to say it was my last year of college. Yeah. Yeah, it was my last year of college, so probably like 6 years or so.
And then it shit the bin.
Yeah. Yeah, it stalled on the highway. It was midnight, and we got stalled on the pike. That kind of sucked.
Where are you coming back from?
We were actually leaving from Bright Nights in Springfield, going back to Westfield, and yeah, we got stalled in between Springfield and Westfield.
It must have been cold, ain't it?
Yeah, it was very cold. Yeah, it was very cold, and we had to wait about an hour for the tow truck, so that kind of sucked.
Have you had any detentions in school, and if so, what were they for?
Nope. I was a damn near perfect student. Near perfect, not completely perfect, but near perfect.
This is where I make fun of you with a nerd emoji and a Vine boom sound effect.
That's fair. That's fair.
Right, it was fun having you.
It
Thank
was
you
really
for
fun having
agreeing
you.
to this against your will. It looks like I'm filming like a Taliban ransom video.
Fair. At least we got one to compare in case one day, you know, they decide to abduct a math teacher from Palmer, Massachusetts, you know.
Hey, Tyler Simons here. This video is for Trevor for his graduation. Question number one, what's my favorite band while I was in high school? There's no band better than BTR, Big Time Rush. Now watch me flush this 5-iron. Bingo.
All right, Mr. Freeman.
Hello.
What was your favorite band during high school?
Fish.
What was your first job?
I was a inventory clerk at a grocery store.
What was your first car?
A mid-90s Toyota Previa minivan with a manual transmission.
Have you had any detentions during school, and if so, what were they for?
I don't remember detentions, but I did get suspended twice.
Would you mind elaborating?
I got suspended for fighting in middle school and for bringing fireworks to school in high school, which you'd probably get arrested for now, so don't do that.
Yeah. What was your first impression of me as a student?
Oh, that you're very self-directed, and you know what you're looking for, and that's a great quality in a student.
Say hi, Tanasia. So say hi.
Oh, hi. Are you recording?
A little. Which can the zoom? Oh no. 20 times zoom. Brayden, we got the 20 times zoom. I can see your retina. Good douche.
Mr. Quinn, what was your favorite band in high school?
Van Halen. And Motley Crue.
Motley Crue? That's funny because I was thinking about before this. I was like, what bands would Mr. Quinn have liked? And I was thinking like Kiss or Motley Crue, something like hair
Yeah, it was
metal.
more Motley Crue. Van Halen.
But what was your first car?
First car. Chevy Impala.
What was your first job?
I worked in my family's bakery as a kid.
Have you had any detentions in school, and if so, what were they for?
Nope.
No
Went to private
detentions?
school, then no detentions in high school.
La-di-da, excuse me.
Where's Miss Anderson?
She teaches this period. If you'd like her to be in it, we can do it. You can come back next period. She should be here. Oh, hi, Trev. Is that you? What brings you by? What do we got? Is that a boom mic? What's been the best use of your boom mic so far?
Making people uncomfortable being on camera.
Now, good luck. Who have you made the most uncomfortable so
Probably
far?
Miss Gula. I was rolling, and I just pointed it in her direction, and she was like, "No."
So what methods of discomfort have you used, Trev?
I have to try this.
You're big on the, okay, so we call that proximity. Have the occasional awkward silence. I would say, you know what'd be good for you? False accusations. Like, how do you respond, not like of making a false accusation, but the reaction, like, what's your reaction to all the people who say that you hit somebody's car on the way into work today? And nobody's saying that.
So act like a journalist?
Yes, poke that bear. I'm not saying, this is since I'm being recorded, I don't officially recommend you do that, but you could do that if your goal was discomfort.
So you do not condone that?
No, I don't condone anything illegal, immoral, nothing. I don't really condone anything except being on the path. And that's shooting from the hip.
It's good wisdom.
Have you gotten some any unexpected informations today?
I was just next door to Miss Cavera, and we ended up recording for like 20 minutes.
20 minutes?
Because we were talking about AI.
AI, I'd say, I actually just did a presentation on AI yesterday.
Oh, really?
I would argue as big cultural shift coming from AI as the internet was. It's hard to wrap your head around now. Right now people use it just to make kind of soulless essays and do nothing, but the kind of stuff it can create, revolutionize everything. Gonna take a lot of jobs, but we're gonna have a lot more time for art and for Nintendo. So, I'm for it.
You got anything to say about that, Miss Anderson? That's very good insight, Mr. Short.
That sounds
You're very smart.
Wow, that sounds just like her. You must have been practicing that impression for years.
Did I sound dead inside?
Any fun goings-on over your vacation? Even if it was just rest.
That ruined my sleep schedule. Because, like, I don't even really do it purposely. I'll check my watch. It's 10. It's like, oh, okay. I'll check it again. It's 1 in the morning.
You gotta have the same schedule no matter what you're doing.
I don't like the monotony. That's the thing.
Monotony?
I hate just things getting, like, repetitive and boring. It's like...
Well, what you do can change. You shouldn't do the same thing.
And I like
That's
the
monotony.
freedom of not having a schedule.
Well, freedom comes with a price, you know? Like all things. On one hand, being free is fun. On the other hand, freedom means being overtired, under-rested, overstimulated, irritable. But if you wake up at 5:20 every single day, sometimes you watch a movie, sometimes you go for a walk, sometimes you meditate, sometimes you make a nice breakfast, who knows? But you're up the same time. It's you ever hear of a circadian rhythm, Trevor?
No, I'm not familiar.
It's the your body's natural rhythm that connects with your sleep schedule. So people who work overnight, like in the healthcare industry, they say it messes up their circadian rhythm. So yeah, you want that to be consistent. Also important for mood. If you or anybody you know ever struggles with I don't know, depression or anxiety or any mental ailment, big predictor for that is your sleep always changing one day to the next. Your body doesn't know what to expect. Your body's expecting 7 hours from 11 to 6. All of a sudden you're up till 4, up at 2. Your body doesn't know what to do. Goes haywire. Off the walls. Off the walls.
It's good advice.
Well, I'm a good guy.
Would you mind explaining your recipe on overnight oats?
Oh, overnight oats recipe. Haven't made that in a little while. So good thing with overnight oats is all you really need for it is oatmeal, milk, and a night for it to process over. You could make it any way you want. Sometimes I'll talk about it. People say, sure, I don't like that. Don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. There's 100 different ways to do it. If I was making my optimal, ideal oats, here's what I would do. Tupperware container, 1 packet plain oatmeal. I put in some sprinkles of some chai seeds. You read it, it looks like chia. It's actually pronounced chai. Maybe some hemp hearts, if you would. I put in some local honey. Local honey is important because it actually helps prevent allergies. And any mixed berry, my personal favorite is a dark cherry. Blueberry will also suffice. Scoop of Greek yogurt. It's plain yogurt. Splash of milk. Put that in your fridge overnight. Open it up. It'll be kind of like a mix of a pudding and a parfait. Absolutely delightful. You'll feel shot out of a cannon. You're welcome to sprinkle on some cinnamon if you need, but it should be flavorful enough. Now I talk to kids about this ad nauseum, because kids say they come in, oh, I can't work, first period, bro, so tired. Say, if you just woke up a little bit early, maybe go for a walk in the graveyard, eat some overnight oats, you're gonna feel great when you come to school. People like drag themselves up, give themselves 2 minutes to get ready, and they wonder why they feel horrible half the day. You need to be intentional with your time, with what you eat, with what you do. Not perfect, just intentional. Am I asking too much? I hope it was good. I look forward to seeing it on the supercut. I do. So, you know what I love? You've been asking Miss Young for this mic for how long? You said
ever since I recorded that interview with Freeman back in like early October.
So we're going on like 6 months at this point. And so you've been nagging or hassling her.
Well, it wasn't her fault because she has to put it into the order people, and they're like snails about it.
Oh yeah, budget is a slow but necessary process. And then she's like, okay, Trevor's been asking me for months. He must have some great plans with this boom mic. You're gonna come back, and it's gonna be my overnight oats. Freeman talking about a stapler. Miss Guevara talking about BPA. Okay, Trevor, was this $800 investment paying off the dividends I thought it would? I'll accept any 3 questions you have. Then I've got a few documents I need to work on.
Name one person you would kill.
I would kill?
Yeah.
What I will say is I don't support terrorism in general, and if I had to kill
how about this? If you were going to kill someone,
yeah,
how would you do it? Is that any better?
You know what I would do? If I had to kill one person, I'd kill them with kindness, Trevor. And if I was nice to them and they didn't die, I'd keep being nice until it happened. So, see, that's the thing, is you got to be careful, especially when you have a Mr. in front of your name. People might copy what you do. A lot of kids try the overnight oats recipe. So, but yeah, if people were trying to kill others with kindness, I don't think that would cause that much harm unless it worked. So, kindness, that's it.
Are you insecure about your balding?
I mean, not really. I mean, I'm not balding so badly. I really notice it. Getting a little thin here and there.
Do you have a hair care regimen for balding? Do you use keeps?
I'm not really balding that much, though. I don't think I need one, do I?
You got the Bill Murray look.
Bill Murray? Let me look at a picture of Bill Murray. I mean, I have a pretty pronounced widow's peak. I don't have a regimen to answer your question. So when you say I have a Bill Murray look, like what do you mean? I think the back of my head is maybe getting like a little bit thin, but not so much I've addressed it. Do have the widow's peak, but I've had that since I was young. I'm not being like Vegeta kind of. But to answer your question, no, I don't really think about it. I think I might, you played God of War?
I played Ascension, and then my PS3 shit the bed.
I think eventually, when I'm balding more, what I'll do is I'll grow my beard out and shave my head and look like Kratos. I think I definitely have the muscles for it, and the deep voice, the intimidation factor. If I just had the beard and if I shaved the head, I'd just be Kratos. So.
Did you cover your body in the ashes of your dead children?
No, I might cover my body in coconut oil and exfoliate a little bit.
How do you do it?
Consistently.
Take you more time than just the trimester.
Let me be very clear. Anna Karenina and Absalom trigger my PTSD from grad school. I irrationally want to set small things on fire when I hear it.
Hi.
What was your favorite band during high school?
Oh, my favorite band? I was a big Green Day fan and liked Blink-182. I like that grunge band. And Nirvana. Nirvana was up there.
What was your first job?
Subway. Working at Subway in a Cumberland Farms gas station, which was not ideal, but first job.
What was your first car?
You trying to get into security questions or something? My first car, it was a Mitsubishi Galant 2000 car. It was a piece of crap, awful vehicle, but got me where I needed to go for a year, and then it broke down.
What was your first impression of me as a student?
Jeez, all right.
You could be brutally honest.
Very quizzical. You like to point things out, and you're very curious, which is good. For history, that's incredibly good, actually. Yeah, no, I mean, you just were very, quizzical. Like, you asked a lot of questions all the time. You would dig deep into facts, and I was like, all right, that's significant. So that was kind of, my honest first impression.
Have you had any detentions in school? And if so, what were they for?
Have I been given a detention?
Yeah.
No, I had perfect record. I had never been given a detention. I did have to go to the office because they thought I did something, but it wasn't me, it was my brother. So, but no, I never got in trouble at school. Not like that. Sorry, I'm a Boy Scout.
Mr. Fletcher.
Yes.
What was your favorite band during high school?
My favorite band was Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, followed very closely by The Who.
What was your first job?
My first job was a lifeguard. I was a lifeguard for 10 years. A local pool and then a summer camp. And
What was your first car?
It was a white Chevy Cavalier POS.
Have you had any detentions in school, and if so, what were they for?
Yes, I did get a detention early on in junior high school, and I got it because I spilled soda on a bus on my ride home, and we weren't supposed to have food or drink, and then I ended up with a pretty nasty office detention after that, so shame on me.
This next question, you could be as honest, brutally honest as you want.
Okay, brutally
What was your
honest.
first impression of me as a student?
Oh, I really enjoyed having you in class.
Okay.
I like your inflections. I love your personality. I love the sort of the banter and little trivia stuff about music and stuff. So you're a pleasure to have.
All right. You working hard, Braden? What was your first job?
Son of a gun! Where'd it go? No, seriously, where did my gun go? There it is.
It's in the shadow realm.
I'm gonna clean that later. First job, I was a cashier at BJ's Wholesale Club where values come to life. I did that for 4 years. Then I became a baker at BJ's Wholesale Club where values come to life, Westboro Club 24. Then I left and became a teacher. And here I am. Like forever. I'm actually handcuffed to my desk. This is kind of awkward to bring up, but yeah. They let me out for good behavior on occasion, but yeah, still being a cashier. Being a cashier was the opposite of fun. Baking was fun though, except waking up at 3 in the morning. Can't recommend that. Of course I do that now. I'm in a quandary.
My first job was I was a server at Friendly's in Palmer. My first car was a Pontiac Grand Prix.
Have you had any detentions in school, and if so, what were they for?
I probably did for, if I had to guess, goofing around or talking. My favorite band in high school, probably A Day to Remember.
So as you can see, I pushed a little right. So questions 2 and 3. Number 2, what was my first job in high school? I was the best blizzard maker at Dairy Queen in Spencer. Everyone would always come when I was working so I could make him a really good blizzard. Question number 3, what was my first car? I drove a total grandma car, a Buick LaCrosse. Missed that thing, it drove like a boat. Let's see if I can get this up and down safe par.
Mr. Lammering.
Yes.
What was your favorite band in high school?
I'm gonna have to give you a couple of them. It was probably Journey and Foreigner. Yeah, no doubt.
What was your first job?
I was a busboy at Rom's Restaurant in Sturbridge, which has now become another restaurant. It was one of the biggest Italian restaurants in Sturbridge. They'd have about 12 busboys on a given night. So I was just this tall as a busboy. I think I was 14 and a half. Yep.
What was your first car?
Volkswagen Golf, color red.
Have you had any detentions in school, and if so, what were they for?
Me personally?
Yeah.
When I was in school?
Yep.
Certainly not. I was an exemplary student. I actually don't think I did. I might have gotten demerits. No, I didn't mess around much in school. I took it seriously. Because I knew I wanted to be a lawyer someday, and I knew I wasn't going to get there goofing around.
How old were you when you knew you wanted to be a lawyer?
4 years old.
Oh, really?
My father was a lawyer, so yeah, as soon as I knew what a job was, I just wanted to be like my dad. If my father was a plumber, I'd probably would have been a plumber.
For this next question, you can be as brutally honest as you like. What was your first impression of me as a student?
Quiet.
Quiet?
Yep. Still is. Yeah, but you know what? Some of the best things are quiet. You get me?
Yeah.
Quiet wonders, I call them. Sometimes the loudest people, but sometimes it's just talk. So I'd rather people do what they're supposed to quietly than not do what they're supposed to do loudly. How's that?
Yeah. Mr. Wilson.
Hello.
What was your favorite band in high school?
My favorite band in high school? Ooh, I was into kind of my rock back then. It would either be Van Halen, Jimi Hendrix, or the Beastie Boys.
What was your first job?
My first job was a waiter at a marina in the seaside town of Largs. I think I was about 15. Yeah, I used to wait tables. My first car, she was a beaut. 1984 VW Rabbit GTI manual. I miss it.
Have you served any detentions in school, and if so, what were they for?
Like me personally? Like
yeah.
I got served detention? No, we didn't have detention in Scotland.
Oh, really?
There was other kind of like disciplinary stuff. I was only written up one time in my entire school career.
What was that?
It was actually, ironically enough, in a chemistry lab. And I thought for some stupid reason it would be good to try and use the Bunsen burner to start something on fire. It never went on fire, but my teacher, Mr. Morse, did not like it.
Yeah. With this next question, you could be as brutally honest as you want.
Sure.
What was your first impression of me as a student?
First impression of you as a student? I think right off the bat, I could tell that you are very conscientious about your school, the work, stuff that we covered here. You were one of the few students in the class who would always ask questions, and I always liked that because those are the students that want to learn.
What was your favorite band during high school?
My favorite band in high school remains my favorite band today as a middle-aged man, and that is They Might Be Giants. Complete nerdy band, but I love them to death. They did the Malcolm in the Middle theme back in the day, and you can't go wrong there. Quality stuff, cerebral writing, great sense of irony. They write a song about a little spider coming up a pipe and enjoying some things. And honestly, can life be so bad when there's a song like that exists? The answer is no. They Might Be Giants.
What was your first car?
Sorry, I got an onion on my forearm. First car was a Plymouth Sundance. Now, you probably never heard of a Plymouth Sundance before, and there's a great reason for that, because it is a death trap on wheels that barely ran. Every time I turned that car on, I took my life into my very hands, and the life of my passengers, and to be honest, the life of everyone around me, because that car is a gigantic sack of garbage. And Plymouth hasn't existed for decades and decades. So thank you for going out of business because your cars were affordable, but also murder wagons. Then I got a Ford Focus, which is barely better. My fore and aft catalytic converters continued to fail to the point where it cost me thousands of dollars. And then I got T-boned by an elderly woman and totaled my car. I was fine, but I got a new car out of it, my Mazda 6. Highly recommend. chefskiss.gif.
So moral of the story, T-bone old ladies and you'll get a new car?
Get T-boned by old ladies.
Get T-boned by old ladies.
Yeah, if you T-bone an old lady, that's probably not going to go well for you. But apparently people have difficulties with color comprehension, which, you know, I understand. Green and red look wildly similar. But hey, one person's wreckage is another person's new car.
What color shirt are you wearing?
What color shirt am I wearing?
It looks a little red to me.
I don't know about hunter green, but you remember like 5 years ago on the internet that dress, like it was blue or it was white and gold. You remember that?
Vaguely.
Answer the question, audience. It's like Dora the Explorer. You can talk to me. I can hear you. What? Speak up. You called me that? You know what? Forget you. I'm not going to talk to you anymore, audience. Just kidding. I like you. So yeah, I would say that this is probably a nice shade of mahogany, perhaps. Maybe chartreuse. I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure what color chartreuse is. I should probably Google it before I say anything, but I didn't. I'm awful. I'm sorry. Please forgive me, audience. What? I can't take you anywhere, audience.
Have you had any detentions in your high school career? And if so, what were they?
I've had one detention in my high school career, and it is one of my favorite stories to tell. So, I was a sophomore in gym. The teacher was giving some sort of instruction. She was backpedaling, i.e. walking backwards, and almost ran into me. So here's what I do to avoid getting, bulldozed by this person. Gym teacher turns around, picks me up by the collar, not like pick up, but like grab my shirt collar, which, no do, and said, "You have a detention." I'm a goody two-shoes, so I got a little upset. Sorry, I'm brandishing a knife here. I'm a little goody two-shoes, so I got upset, and when I saw the detention write-up, and this is a direct quote, I was given a detention for making rude accusations with my hands. Now I'm going to pause right here to give you a chance to try and process what exactly that means, because this happened almost 30 years ago and I still have no idea. School inappropriate, but also valid. Honestly, I don't even know her name anymore. She's probably dead now, so the best revenge is living well.
Hey, this is evidence. I just captured you assaulting Tunisia.
I have so much evidence of him.
You're such a brute. But let's zoom in on the brute. You're such a brute, Howard. I should put it in the yearbook.
So I pushed a little bit, almost killed a foursome, but we're not going to talk about that. I got a nice up and down here look, so we'll see if we can get it. Question number 4. Did I get any detentions while I was in high school? Believe it or not, I did not. I was a 3-sport athlete, so if I got a detention, my coaches would have ripped into me. And I don't even want to know what my parents would have done. But did I do some stuff that was questionable? Yes, but the key is not getting caught. So let's see if I can get up and down now. We got a chance to pause.
Oh, Trevor, didn't see you come in. What brings you by today?
I have a few questions for you, Mr. Short.
Questions? Sure. Fire away.
What was your favorite band during high school?
Favorite band in high school was Blink-182. Still is my favorite band. I was so insufferable in high school. Being like a Mark Hoppus fanboy, I would sometimes have my friends call me Mark instead of Mike. So yeah, I'd say best then, and they haven't been topped since.
What was your very first impression of me as a student?
First impression, a little bit confused. I couldn't tell if you were trying to... I didn't know exactly what your sense of humor was. The only thing I remember about you when I first met you is you would space out a lot, and whenever I'd ask you a question, you would go, huh? And so I couldn't tell like if you were actually spacing out or if you were like making fun of me or what, but then we had a lot of nice talks about high school, about music, about this or that, and you became a real core of that 10th grade class, in my opinion.
Have you had any detentions during high school? And if so, what were they for?
Never had any detentions. I caused a lot of trouble when I was in high school, but it was never mean-spirited and never illegal. It was always just for fun. So I'd have a lot of fake holidays. I'd have impromptu dance parties near my locker. Pulled quite a few pranks, but I always made sure that no one's feelings were ever hurt too badly. So no detentions. Usually my teachers were always kind of amused by it. So I owed them a lot. Almost got a detention once because I was filming a movie, and in it there was like, I think I was a junior or senior at the time, and I had to like shove some kid against the locker. It was after school, so as I did it, the janitor around the corner, and he sees like me and my friends shoving this kid, and he throws his mop down. He's like, "Hey, we got a problem!" I went to school kind of close to Boston, so we had to very quickly tell him, no bullying here, sir. We're all on the path. That was a close call. Other than that, good to go. So that was a question about detentions. I got none.
So you mentioned that you did some pranks in high school. Would you mind elaborating on those?
They were all just very stupid, you know what I mean? I lived in kind of a small town, so we were always at each other's houses, and like one time my neighbor wasn't home, and so my friends went in his room, and we turned all his posters upside down, and we flipped his mattress, and just turned all his books upside down, and we left a sign on his door saying, "Ryan, your world's about to be turned upside down." And like, it's not funny to anyone but us. We're like buckled over with laughter. Occasionally most of us drove to school, so there might have been a pie on somebody's windshield a couple times if they had done something we thought deserved a pie on the windshield. Got involved in a prank war. A lot of the stuff we do for pranks weren't even really pranks. They were just kind of stupid for no reason. Like when junior year started, one of my best friends and I committed to this bit really hard where we were trying to convince everybody we switched bodies. So like for days, I would just pretend like I was Zach, and I'd have all his mannerisms and use his lingo and talk to his friends as if I was him. Be like, guys, I'm stuck, I can't get out. No, again, nobody thinks it's funny or cool, but we're just always kind of make ourselves laugh. A big one was a friend named Anthony, and he was kind of shy, so we'd have like Anthony Awareness Day, and like we all made t-shirts, we'd go around the school and like hand in pamphlets, like little info about him. People would be like, who's this kid? Or like, is it his birthday? We're like, no, we just want people to be aware of him. So it was nothing even really clever. It was all this very stupid. So I had 1,500 kids at my school, so it was kind of big. And I had a group of like, maybe a dozen friends who would just laugh about the stupidest, unfunny stuff all the time. So as long as I was making them laugh, I was happy.
Is this prank war you mentioned noteworthy?
It actually led to some hurt feelings. Okay. Which actually could be a lesson. Don't necessarily put this in. Actually, yeah,
you don't have to elaborate.
No, I'm just trying to think of the specifics. If it could be a story with a good lesson, but no, I can tell you about it off camera. Yeah. But there were some hurt feelings, but you could leave in. There was a prank war that started off very modest, and I had a scheme with a friend to frame somebody else as being involved in the prank war, so they would do something drastic and we wouldn't get in trouble. I'm not going to say exactly what happened, but it went a little bit too far, led to some hurt feelings. I would say probably don't have a prank war. That's my recommendation to you.
What was your first job?
First job was at, and I'll do above the table, because in middle school I might have had a couple under the table and clean up the parking lot jobs, I worked at a grocery store called Shaw's. So I was a cashier, also did bagging, and now and then I'd also collect cards. Which now I love collecting cards because you have earbuds. At the time, you couldn't really have earbuds. They're all very big and there's no place to keep your Walkman. So very boring. Then shortly after a year at Shaw's, I went to Hannaford, which I would say was, for me, a much better work environment.
What was your first car?
Some sort of Toyota. I think it was a Toyota Corolla. It was really old. I don't even remember the year. Maybe like a 2001 or something. I remember it was pine green. And I actually named it Josie. I mentioned Blink being my favorite band when the thing started. I had a gimmick where I'd name my cars and also kind of demand my friends name their cars as well. So that was Josie. It was not an impressive ride, but it was nice. Got me from point A to point Z. It started smelling after a while, and I had no idea why. So my friends would come in my car and it would just smell like death. Turns out, I went in the trunk. I had a towel that got wet in the trunk that had gotten moldy, but since I was in there, I didn't know. So I got that out, and that was helpful. It was only 2 doors. I got 2-door instead of a 4-door, so people wouldn't ask me for rides all the time. It's a great tip in case any of you watching are looking to get a car. You don't always want to be hassled for rides when you're 16. That can be kind of annoying. Then eventually, when I was in college, my stepdad was driving it, and it got totaled. He was okay, and I got a new car, so all's well that ends well. But rest in peace, Josie.
My friends, tonight I ask you to set aside the concerns of the day and join me for just a few minutes in the spirit of curiosity, that enduring American quality which even in uncertain times invites us to marvel at the world around us. In times past, our nation has looked to great challenges and pressed forward with courage. But tonight, we look not to the battles of men, but to the quiet, wondrous facts that surround us. Those small discoveries that remind us how strange and beautiful this world can be. It may surprise you to know that honey, the same golden sweetness that graces the kitchens of so many American homes, never spoils. Archaeologists digging deep into the sands of Egypt have uncovered jars sealed for thousands of years. And what did they find within? Honey, still sweet, still good. A quiet testament to nature's perfection. Consider, if you will, the octopus, a creature of the deep whose intelligence astonishes those who study it. But what makes this animal remarkable is that it possesses not 1, not 2, but 3 hearts. And when it swims, something it rarely does, one of those hearts falls silent, a small mystery deep within the waves. Now I share with you a fact about our own land, about the very letters with which we write our names and shape our laws. Of all the letters in the alphabet, only one, the letter Q, does not appear in any name of any of our 50 states. A small matter, yes, but an oddly comforting one, as there is still order to be found in the most unexpected places. And finally, I leave you with a thought of time. We often think of ancient history as something distant, but remember this: Cleopatra, Queen of the Nile, lived closer to our own time, to the invention of the telephone and the electric light, in fact, than she did to the buildings of the Pyramid of Giza. History does not unfold in chapters. It is alive and surprising and always closer than we think. My friends, these facts may seem like small things, but in a world that moves fast and changes much, it does the heart good to pause and to wonder. Curiosity, like courage, like kindness, is one of the quiet strengths of our people. Good night, and may tomorrow bring it with new questions and the joy in answering them.
Soak it in, me darling daughter. One day, all this will be yours.
Hey girl, how are you back?
When after you graduate high school, I'll start you as manager.
But Dad, I have my own dreams.
Like what? Listen to that rock band 14 hours a day?
They're called the Electric Skates. Mr. Krabs, if she doesn't want to be manager, I know someone who'd be great for the job.
You?
Code Orange.
No! That means I'm going to have to close for the day!
Alright, scene 5. What we need is a task force.
Force? Yeah. Yes, Mrs. Puff. We'll build a force field around Bikini, but I feel like I'm missing a word. Force, Mrs. Puff, yes. We'll build a force field around Bikini Bottom.
Are they gonna kill you if you miss one word?
Yes. No pressure.
and offer them to the volcano as a sacrifice.
Does anyone have an actual plan to propose?
Chums.
Hold on, Tiny Dancer. I wasn't hatched yesterday. This sounds like another one of your schemes.
At a time like this? How could you think such a thing?
You got something up your sleeve.
My recommendation to get the voice sound is to smoke a cigarette between each line.
That would definitely help with the gravel, but I also have to sing. I might die. Will you bring me back if I die?
Yeah, I'll get my Necronomicon.
There you go. That's really all you need. Bounded human flesh.
Ah, I'm gonna meet them.
You're not going anywhere. You're gonna stay right here, which is sort of what the line says,
Yes.
but not at all.
You're not meeting anyone, young lady. You'll be staying inside.
You're not meeting anyone, young lady. You'll be staying inside.
You can't just give up.
Sure we can. Line.
There's nothing you can do.
And that's a cue line. Let it go, boy. There's nothing you can do. Like I said, you're just a simple spawn. Simple spawn. What do you say?
I told you before.
Mr. Krabs is the type of dad to give a 6 p.m. curfew to his daughter.
Yes. And then charge her for every minute that she is late.
Gotta pay the late fee.
Plus interest, of course.
Hey, Mr. Krabs, guess what? We won't have to leave Bikini Bottom after all. I'm putting together a team to save our town.
Good luck with that. I'm packing. How badly am I off?
Pearl, honey, how's it going in there? Are you packed yet?
Just an inversion. Pearl, honey, how's it going in there? Are you packed yet?
No, I can't decide which one to wear for the electric skates.
For the last time, Pearl, get it through your blowhole. You're not meeting those stingray degenerates.
But, Dad!
You've got your priorities all wrong. We are in a crisis here. And in a crisis, there's only one thing you can depend on.
You mean family?
No, Vin Diesel.
Community?
You're kidding, right?
And the next one that you have in that song is, I'm sorry, Pearl, were you trying to say something?
I'm sorry, Pearl. We're trying to say something. Money!
I just want to find someone who looks at me the way Daddy looks at money. And I am going to meet the electric skates. There's nothing he can do about it.
Now you see, Pearl, our fellow fish are feeling frightened and vulnerable. Which means there's only one thing to do. Exploit them to make even more money. I'm starting a new ad campaign. One more Krabby Patty before the end.
Are you gonna be like head to toe in red paint?
My head will be red. My goatee will be red. I'm gonna be in blue, what color pants? I don't know what color pants. It's whatever Krabs wears. A blue shirt and big ass boxing gloves.
It's a blue pants. So
Is it? Okay.
Jeans.
Yeah, it's
Big ass boxing gloves.
Yes. With like little pincers.
So we have the sexy cheeseburger coming out, right?
One more Krabby Patty before the end.
So
For real.
Get your Krabby Patties before it's too late.
Get your Krabby Patties before it's too late.
All right, question number 5. What was my first impression of Trevor when I first met him? First thing I thought is, dang, I hope this kid plays football, because he was just one of the biggest kids in the school and we would love to have had him on the team. But having him in class, I knew he was a super sweet kid, a giant goober, per usual. I think a lot of kids in this class are giant goobers. Very quiet, but I knew that I could push him to get better at math. So he will always go down as one of my favorite students at Pathfinder.
What was your favorite band during high school?
My favorite band during high school, well, I listened to a lot of Alanis Morissette, OAR. Let me see, what concerts did I go to? I went to a Black Eyed Peas concert, I went to a Bob Dylan concert, Michael Franti, but pretty much a little bit of everything.
What was your first job?
Okay, do you want my very first job or do you want like my official first job?
Both.
Okay, well, I always did odd jobs before I could officially work. I guess this is child labor, but I used to park cars at the Palmer Airport when I was like maybe 7, 8 years old. But my first official job was bussing tables at Steaming Tender restaurant in Palmer, and I was probably 14, and I only did that so that I could make money to go get my lifeguard certification at 15 and become a lifeguard. Officially, I would say Steaming Tender was my first job, but then I was a lifeguard at different pools around Palmer.
I had no clue that you were a lifeguard. Did you ever mention that?
I think I did. I was a big swimmer. I swam in high school and in college.
I thought you did like lacrosse or softball or whatever.
I also played softball in high school and in college, but I also swam.
What was your first car?
Okay, this is a sad story. So my first car, that's a sensitive subject. It was a beautiful black Saab that my dad gave to me because he was getting a new car, and I totaled it. I rear-ended someone so badly that it totaled the entire car. So I had all my favorite bumper stickers on it, and I lost them when the car got totaled. So the black Saab, it had leather seats. It was cute. I miss it still.
What was your first impression of me as a student?
Okay, so my first impression of you was I was a little scared, but I knew that you were gonna be fun. I was nervous, I guess I would have to say. But then I met you, and then I realized your humor, and I figured we were gonna have a good time because we kind of had similar humors. You really surprised me because, if I'm being honest, I thought you were immature when I first met you, and I thought, oh boy, he's gonna give me a run for my money, and I've just seen you grow and get really mature over the past couple years, and you like take your studies seriously and really become a great student.
Did you have any detentions?
Again, these are things that I don't like to reveal to my students because...
Which is why I'm asking them.
I like to be a good role model, but
do as you say, not as you do.
Yeah, I was a great student in college. I really loved college. I loved what I was studying. I was a communication major, and the minute that I got into those courses, I just became the student that I think I was always supposed to be. But in high school, I will admit I was not the greatest student. I didn't care too much. All I wanted to do was play sports and have fun, and I didn't really take it too seriously. That said, I've never failed a class or anything like that, and I always had a 3.0 GPA, or close to. But I did have a few detentions in high school. Mainly I was tardy so often that you got a detention for being tardy, so I had to do a couple Saturday detentions. No one really knows what they are, but you had to go to school on a Saturday really early and spend about 4 or 5 hours sitting in silence. And this was kind of before phones, computers, so sat at a desk a few Saturdays due to being late so often.
My insides are bubbling. I need to use the restroom. Ah, too late!
What was your first job in high school?
Ooh, that brings me back to the Holyoke Mall. And my very first job there was at Deb's. And it's a women's clothing store, and I lasted there a little bit, and then I had a friend that we went and I started working at the Weather Vane, and that was another women's clothing store.
What was your first car?
My first car was a 1979 Ford Fairmont, a big red square rectangle car that didn't even have a radio in it.
Mm. What was your favorite band during high school?
Def Leppard was the favorite band back then.
What was your first impression of me as a student? You gotta be brutally honest.
Brutally honest, my first impression of you as a student, that was in 9th grade.
That's when I had the man bun. Some people thought I was transgendered.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. You were very quiet. You sat in the back to the left side against the wall. It's like I remember it. It was like yesterday. And you sort of like kept to yourself. So it was a little difficult to get to know you. But as time went on and having you for a couple more classes, then seemed to have opened up and become a little bit more open to conversations and getting to know other people better.
Kind of had my tail tucked in 9th grade. Have you had any detentions during high school?
I did. I had one detention, and it was for coming in late from going to McDonald's for breakfast. And then we all got detentions. However, when we showed up to detention, our names weren't on the list. So a few of us decided that we weren't going to stay because our names weren't on the list. But other people put their name on the list, and they ended up having to serve detention. So we left them.
What was your first impression of me?
So what I did is I got a wig, a curly haired wig, and I put it on. And then I found a World War II era jacket that said Mac on the name tape. And I put it on, put on some boots, some jeans, and a peach colored shirt. And then went around and said, "I'm Trevor McRae." And that was the first impression I ever did of you. You're a good guy, you're studious, you're easy to talk to, you got great taste in music, outstanding taste in
Not
music.
now, I mean when you first met me. First ever impression. Like, oh, this kid is a threat. So nothing like that?
He seems like a nice, upstanding young man. I don't really recall the first impression I had of you, at least not until I had you as like drama, and then as a student, of course. I like what you turned out to be, though, and I don't recall having a negative first impression, like, check out this guy over here. You don't suck, for what it's worth.
How you doing? I'm Mike Quinn. I'm the school monitor here at Pathfinder Tech Regional Vocational High School. I walk the hallways, watching students, getting them back in class, make sure they're not skipping classes. If there's any issues, bring them down to the office, reports, files, stuff like that. Just general assistance with security and safety in the building.
Sorry, I cut the video. Let's see if I can make this putt. Say par. That's how you do it.
Say the magic word. Oh.
That's why I'm uncomfortably recording you. We shall see. I'm sure it will be. Say goodbye.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.